front of them. Right? So anyhow, in this verse, it's being said that the great devotees, they're holding this jewel of Govinda in the palm of their hand, and according to how they move that jewel, different rays of light are coming off of that jewel. And so similarly, all these great devotees, they all have some unique revelation, right? Some unique vision that is coming to their heart because of the depth of their love and devotion for the Lord. The Lord is revealing himself in different ways, you can say, through the hearts of his devotees. And we get some fresh light and insights. Darya Leela has utsaha, enthusiasm. She has a lot of enthusiasm. Jai Suvasini Didi ki Jai. Now our congregation just got upgraded by the presence of Suvasini. We have a
Good to see everyone. I'll be back.
Okay.
Yes. Just the whole cushion there. Yes.
Welcome, Swasini Didi ki.
So the scene in our Irish ambassador.
That's well put.
Yeah, she is, definitely.
And so, hearing from the different devotees, we get some unique insight about the nature of the Lord and his divine Leela in this world. And so, we're very fortunate. What is this mission actually of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat? It's a celebration of the devotion of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj in particular, he has given some very unique and profound insights, right, into the nature of Krishna consciousness, Krishna bhakti. And so we're blessed to have so much unique wealth, right, that has been revealed to us through the heart of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And so this song, this is an Aarti song that was composed by Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and this song is a very nice example, actually, of him, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, expressing his heart's revelation about the nature of Gaura Leela, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela in this world. And another thing we can mention in the background, in the preface to this discussion, is that the Vaishnavas, they're always very shy and humble when it comes to expressing their inspiration and the revelation that comes to them, right? And one nice example is we see Chaitanya Charitamrita, right, is our principal scripture that is discussing Mahaprabhu's life. But throughout that book, he's always very careful not to repeat anything that was previously described by other authors, right, about Mahaprabhu, in particular Vrindavan Das Thakur, who gave Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is also glorifying Mahaprabhu's Leela. So Kaviraj Goswami repeatedly throughout the entire text, he's always giving honor to Vrindavan Das Thakur. He's always careful not to describe or say anything that was already described by Vrindavan Das, and also saying, like, I'm not the real authority, right, on Gaura Leela. I'm not the real giver of Gaura Leela, but Vrindavan Das, he's the real one. I'm just chewing his remnants. He says things like that. So there's this very deep respect that you see in the moods of the Vaishnavas, not to overstep, right, others. And I saw with our Gurudev too. Our Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj, he was an incredible composer of Sanskrit poetry also. But he didn't actually write that much. Actually, a lot of what he wrote, he published in other people's names. That's another thing, so a lot of it is like kind of hidden. But I witnessed one time, he was speaking about the beauty of Mahaprabhu's kirtan, when Mahaprabhu was dancing in kirtan with his devotees. and he was describing the scene. Mahaprabhu was dancing in ecstasy, the tears coming from his eyes, and his hair standing on end, and his voice choking with love, and so on. And he said, I was thinking to write a poem, to write something describing this. He said, but then I saw that it was already done. There's a beautiful verse by another great Vaishnava writer, Prabodhananda Saraswat. He has an incredible verse describing the beauty of Mahaprabhu's kirtan. So Gurudev said, I was thinking to write a verse describing this, but I saw Prabodhananda Saraswati already did it. So I didn't write it. And I was thinking to myself, well, Gurudev, we would still really like to hear what your description would be, and I'm sure it would be completely unique. But I appreciate he had that mood of respect, like, oh, he already did it. I'm not going to do it again, right? And so this Aarti song, this was some inspiration Srila Sridhar Maharaj had, because I'm so happy we're talking about this actually, because it's something, quite significant and unique about the style of worship that we have in the line of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he established this worship of Radha, Krishna, and Mahaprabhu together on one altar, which had not been done before. But actually what he was doing was manifesting what was the vision of Ramananda Rai. Right? Ramananda Rai was one of the most intimate associates of Mahaprabhu. And we have one thing we have to remember is we kind of have this privileged knowledge of knowing who Mahaprabhu is, that he is actually Krishna with the heart, the mood of Radharani. But that was not known, actually. Even in the time of Mahaprabhu, only a very few, a handful, maybe 2 or 3 of Mahaprabhu's associates, they were privy to that esoteric knowledge. Otherwise, they're seeing him as an avatar of Vishnu, of Krishna, or more generally, they'll see him as a great saint, right? And then the devotee group would mostly see him as Krishna himself. But very, very few, really 2, 3, or 4 would have known in that time what is his actual inner identity. Krishna exploring himself through the mood of his beloved Srimati Radharani. Very few would have known that. And this was, Ramananda Rai was one of those few close associates who had that revelation. And he had this vision of Radha Krishna Mahaprabhu as one. And so Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our great grandfather guru, he realized that vision in the worship that he established in his temples throughout India. And he was, there are different layers to that decision he made. One is to, realize that vision. And then it was also to demonstrate the position of Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu, it's difficult to understand who he is, right? And generally at most, today also, most persons who've even heard about him, many haven't even heard of him in India. And if they have heard of him, they generally think of him as a great saint, right? That's like the okay, if you get you a cushion, there's a seat for you here as well if you like. Okay. Yeah, come so everyone can see you. We're discussing the Saraswat Aarti. And so, so Mahaprabhu is, first of all, is not very well known in India. Second of all, if he is known, he's mostly considered to be a great saint. And so Srila Saraswati Thakur, he wanted to demonstrate the divinity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by showing him, by worshipping him on the altar beside Radha Krishna. So to show he is not of a lesser status than they are. And not only that, but in the way that they are placed, according to the Vedic tradition, Mahaprabhu is even placed in the senior position, right? He's on the right side, and to his left are Radha and Krishna. In the Vedic tradition, that's how the senior person will be in that position, right, on the right side. And so even in the arrangement on the altar, Saraswati Thakur was also demonstrating the supreme position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so this was the vision of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he established that in his 64 temples throughout India. And however, there was not an Aarti song that was composed that was specifically describing this worship. And so in the time of Saraswati Thakur, there's the Gora Aarti song that we still sing that, glorifying. That is also a very beautiful song. If you have a chance to read the translation, it's so beautiful, describing how all the devas, all the gods are coming and worshiping Mahaprabhu. We just had a meeting before, that's why we were late coming here, and we were discussing this point actually, how so much of our practice, there's a tendency for it to become ritual. We're doing things like going through the motions, or we do it like this, we do it like that, but their source is something very living and very dynamic, right? So we do our Aarti, we wave the chamara, we ring the bells and so on. But like in the original Aarti, all these great gods are coming, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they're all coming and making their offerings, ringing the bell and blowing the conch. And that song is so beautiful, playing the mridanga and so on. It's very living and very dynamic, right? So it's nice for us to remember that sometimes. So they're singing that song, and then there was another song, Aarti song for Radha and Krishna. And so that's how the Aarti would go on, singing these songs. In the Gaudiya Mat, and also in our Mat, that was also the practice. But then Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he had this inspiration that actually we need an Aarti song that is specifically glorifying this type of worship of Radha Krishna Mahaprabhu on the same altar, and that hasn't been done yet, right? Because remember, and those were songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that were being sung, right? So Saraswati Thakur is honoring his guru and using the Aarti songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the worship in his temples. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote those songs before this type of worship had even been established, right? And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he had this realization, like, oh, we need a new Aarti song specifically addressing this type of worship. And so he wrote this, which is describing, the nature of this worship and how Mahaprabhu came to take this appearance, right, of combined form, Radha and Krishna. And but it's also interesting to note, it's significant to note, when Srila Sridhar Maharaj composed it, he didn't start to institute a big change, like, oh, now we're going to use this song. He was very quiet and very humble. He composed it, and then it was our Gurudev. And in fact, I'm trying to think if our Gurudev even started it in the time of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. In the beginning, our Gurudev, it was our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, who decided, oh, we should sing this song. And initially, they only sang it on Fridays. Welcome, Denise. You want to take a cushion? It's a little crowded in here.
Okay. Open if you want for the song. Denise, is the seat here?
Well, there's a seat here too if you want.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You're happy there.
So originally it was only sung on Fridays in our temple. And do you remember, Didi, was that in the time of Srila Sridhar Maharaj that they sang it on Fridays?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a good day later he said like, well, it was my part. I did at that time make that happen
every day. Yeah.
He said it was, sorry, they were doing it on Fridays.
Yeah. So I think they started on Fridays while Srila Sridhar Maharaj was present. And then later, some years later, after Srila Sridhar Maharaj had left, then our Gurudev, and I think it was actually by the inspiration of Janardhan Maharaj, that he said, well, why don't we sing it every day? And our Gurudev was very happy about that. And then gradually that started to take place in all of our temples. And yes, I also remember that Gurudev expressed some regret, like, oh, why didn't I do that in the time of Srila Sridhar Maharaj? There's one recording of our Gurudev talking about this song, and he describes it as the most perfect Aarti song. It's a very nice talk. And he gave a very nice explanation there that the Aarti, so the Aarti song is written to glorify, right, a particular personality. And so our Gurudev explains that this type of song, it should, or any type of glorification of someone, it should mention the Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Lila, right? These are four principal aspects of the Lord that we hear. Nam, his name, so you must mention the name and glorify the name. Rupa means his form or his beauty, his appearance. Guna is his qualities, right? His special characteristics. And Lila, what is his divine play? What is his purpose, you could also say, for his appearance? So that was a very interesting point our Gurudev made. That, and if you look at like pranam mantras, like specific prayers glorifying the Lord and, you know, great saints, you'll see these four things are mentioned. And so that, of course, is also being described here. And our Gurudev, I don't remember if I just said it, but our Gurudev described this as most perfect Aarti song. It is really so extraordinary. Mm-hmm. So Jaya De Jode Jaya Gaur Saraswati. So Gaur Saraswati, this is referring to the lineage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because, you know, there were so many followers of Mahaprabhu, right? The Gaudiya group is very big and very diverse, actually. And so specifically, like, which angle of vision of Mahaprabhu, who is Mahaprabhu according to the conception of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati? That is that lineage, that line. And that's also echoed in the name of our mission, Chaitanya Saraswat, not Chaitanya Saraswat. But there's also a double meaning here, because the word Saraswat or Saraswati, it also means like message, right? Or words. You know, Saraswati is the goddess of speech and learning, right? So Saraswati also means message. So then Gaura Saraswati can also mean the message of Gaura, the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhakti Vinodam Vaya Karuna Murati. And then here he's, I'm not, an expert in the linguistics. I could just give an overview and maybe Didi would like to add something too. But then Bhakti Vinodam Vaya means connected with Bhakti Vinod Thakur, right? Because Bhakti Vinod Thakur is also he was the pioneer of the renaissance of Gaudiya Vaishnavism in the modern age. And it is also by the grace of Bhakti Vinod Thakur that we got Srila Saraswati Thakur. So and then Karuna Murati means like the embodiment, Murti, of Karuna, which means mercy. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur is the embodiment of divine mercy, divine compassion, and by his grace, we have received connection to this lineage of Gaur Saraswati. So, they have Prakashile means revealed. So Gaur Seva, they have revealed the service of Shri Gaura Bhuvana Manga for the upliftment, for the auspiciousness, for the welfare of the world, Bhuvan. So by their grace, we've received this opportunity to have the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhakti Siddhanta Shuddha Pragyana Ujvala. And this is referring to the pure conclusions of devotion, of pure devotion, which are enriched with Pragyan, the most profound teachings, Siddhanta, Ujvala, and they are shining. So they've given us this to the service connection, but also they've given us the deepest, because it's, the religious world is always a jungle, right? And so what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did and Saraswati and Bhakti Vinod Thakur did is they kind of like cut a path through that jungle, you could say, and showed us what is the clear conception What is the clear understanding of what is pure devotion? Who is Radha Krishna? Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? How can we authentically connect with them? And so on. All of these things. They have revealed the shining and profound, pure knowledge. And then we're coming to description of these deities, Radha, Shama, Ekatanu. So Radha, Sham, Radha, Krishna, Ekatanu means in one form. They're appearing in one form as Gora. Gora is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gora Rai. They're on Dake, on the right side. So as I mentioned earlier, that's indicating his senior position. That not only is he equal to them, but from one perspective, he has even a higher, more developed position. The rasa, the ecstasy, the mood is full and overflowing in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this combined form of Sri Chaitanya. So he's seated on the right side, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bame Radha, and on the left is Radha, Madhya Swayam, Shama Gopadai. Madhya in the middle, Shama, Swayam, Shama Gopadai, that cowherd boy, Krishna, he's in the middle, himself, Swayam, Jaya, all glories to them. Braja Rasa, so the mood of Vrindavan, of Braja, Nava Bhave, in a new way. It's so beautiful, this song, Nava Dvipe Raje. It means like it's raining in Navaji. So this sweet Vrindavan mood, Vrindavan love is reigning in Navaji with a new style. You could say it's equal to Vrindavan, but it is the Audarya, right? Yes, it is described. The mood of Vrindavan is Madhurya, means very sweet. The mood of Navadvip is Audarya, means that sweetness is being distributed. It's being shared so that people can actually taste the sweetness. So it is the same quality of rasa, the same quality of love and ecstasy that you find in Navadvip. That you find in Vrindavan. It is now appearing in Navadvip, but with some fresh appearance, some fresh mood, some fresh angle, you could say. Udade. So this Udade, I believe that's referring to the Audarya, that Madhura, that sweetness of Vrindavan, it is appearing Abhinava, new in this new way, with this element of magnanimity, of distribution. Madhurja Kaivalya Raga, Brajara Nirdas, Prakti Parakashtatati, Gauranga Vilas. This is saying that this pure love, this pure sweetness of Vrindavan has reached Niryas, has reached its highest limit in the play of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It has Prapti Padaka, has attained this highest limit of its expression in Gauranga Vilas, in the divine play of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Bhava Kanti Angi Kori Balamate Dakine Asana Rasa Garima Dekate. So this is describing Mahaprabhu, how he has accepted the Bhav and the Kanti. Bhav means the heart or the mood of Radha, and Kanti is referring to her halo, the divine effulgence. So Krishna has accepted the heart and the halo of Radha, and then Dakine Asana. Now he's seated on the right side, Gadima Dekate, in order to Rasa Gadima Dekate, in order to demonstrate the superiority of his Rasa, because the right side, as it says, is senior. So Krishna has accepted the heart, embraced the heart and halo of Radha, and now he's seated himself on the right side in order to demonstrate the glory of his Rasa, this mood of divine love. Radha Rasa Choyo Swada Rahasha Prayas. And now this Radha Rasa Chaya, this Chaya is referring to three. And Swada means taste. So it's saying it's a little it's all difficult to translate properly into English, all these things, but But because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it explains in the beginning that, how Krishna came to this decision to appear with the mood of Radharani, right? And it particularly mentions 3 aspects of Radharani's experience that he wanted to have for himself, right? And so what is the great glory of Radharani's love? What is the nature of her love? What is the sweetness within me that she can experience that I cannot experience? And then the third one is something like he wants to experience that position of being the supplier rather than being the receiver. He wants to give, to experience that position of dedication. It is called the ashray. Instead of being the vishoy, in the position of the enjoyer, he wants to experience the position of the ashray, means who is giving the enjoyment, who is supplying the enjoyment. So these are the 3 things that are mentioned when Krishna's coming to this decision. Oh, I want to take this position. These are the 3 aspects of Radharani's love that he wants to experience for himself. And so that's what this is referring to. He wants to taste that swad. Radha Rasa Choya, these 3 aspects of Radha's rasa, her mood of divine love. So then this Rahasya Prayas, this is a tricky one. And I heard there was some dispute when the translation was being made. This prayas is referring to an endeavor, right? And so Krishna, he made this endeavor, made this attempt to taste these 3 rasas of Radha. But this word rahasya, I heard when, our Gurudev asked some devotees to translate, and I heard they had some dispute. And because the word rahasya has different layers of meaning, and one meaning is like hidden. Rahasya, you see that word in Bhagavad Gita, right? One meaning is hidden, and another person was suggesting mischievous. There's an element of mischievousness about this, And Krishna is trying to take her heart and her mood, but something like that. He's making this attempt to experience her mood. And then Miraki Prafula Radha Muke Mandahasa. This is very sweet. It's saying that Radharani is watching this. She's seeing that Krishna wants to take this mood, and she has a gentle smile on her face. Muke Mandahasa. She has a gentle, hasa means like a smile. Manda, gentle, soft, muke on her face, on her mouth. So Radharani is, and she Prafula, she's very fulfilled also. She's very pleased, to see this also.
What are the 3 you said? 3 rasa.
Radha Rasa Choyam. It's described in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. I mean, I would like to look at it again to say precisely, but as I recall, one is that he wants to experience the nature of her love for him. He wants to experience the sweetness in him that she can only experience. And then the third one is something along that he wants to experience the position of the ashray, because he's in the position of the vishoy, which means the enjoyer. These are like technical terms that are used. Krishna is the enjoyer, the vishay, and the devotee is referred to as the ashray. And that has different layers of meaning. Ashray also means shelter. And so and we also have the term ashraya vigraha, we use to refer sometimes to guru. And that means, guru, he's in this position of giving shelter, but he's also like supreme devotee of Krishna and offering service to Krishna. So Krishna, he can only experience so much in his position as the enjoyer, and he wants to experience being on the other side. So something along those lines. But we should check Chaitanya Charitamrita for exactly what's stated there. Yeah, Madhya Rahi Bamshidave Goshe Bamshida Radhara Sampade Ami Go. This is a really, really nice line. And And actually, I have a personal story with this verse, because once when I was living in Navadvip, I would help with the office things. I would help Mahananda Namari Sudamarsh with office things and with making web pages, very basic web pages. And once we had devotees around the world used to send pictures in, like at the events going on, and I would make some basic web pages for the website, for our website. And so once the devotees in Australia, they have a beautiful deity of Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Sundar, and they sent in some pictures of some festival they had. Maybe it was Gaur Purnima. And I also would put some simple captions sometimes on the photos. And so I put that caption underneath a picture of Mahaprabhu. And our Gurudev was so pleased. He was so happy. And he talked about it for like half an hour. And then he was asking, who did this? He was so happy about it. But the verse is saying, it's a very cool line. Madhya rahi bamshirave goshe bamshidar. So madhya means in the middle is the flute player, Vamshi, right? That is Krishna. And he's declaring, in the middle is that flute player, Krishna, and he's declaring, Radhara Sampade Ami Gauranga Sundar. In the glory of Radha, I become Gauranga Sundar. In the glory of Radharani's love, I become Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like that. I become, more glorious form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the glory of my Radha's love. It's very, very beautiful line. Madha Bishta Rupa Radha. This line is also incredible. Madha Bishta Rupa Radha Hridaya Mandire. I think this might be my favorite verse actually. Gauranga Bajila Shishtu Sportipai. It's saying that, so this is Krishna speaking in the middle, right? This is all live and dynamic, right? So Krishna is in the middle saying, and he's saying this Madha Bishta in the temple of Radharani's heart, right? Mandir is a temple. So Hridaya is heart. So in the temple of Radharani's heart, Mad Abhishta Rupa. Abhishta means like most cherished. So Rupa form. So my most cherished form is revealed in the heart of Radharani. And Gauranga Bajila Shushtu Spurti Payatad. And by worshipping Gauranga, that can be realized. By worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that can be realized. Very beautiful line, isn't it? In the temple of Radharani's heart. So beautiful. Now this next line, Nadia Prakashe Mahaprabhu Goda Nidhi Patita Pavana Deva Nilaila Vidi. This is describing how, because as we were saying earlier, we were just saying that earlier, there are these two forms of Mahaprabhu, right? There's the Yuga avatar, who's the avatar of the age, who comes to spread the Yuga Dharma, the religion of the age. And he's, spreading the holy names, he's liberating the people and so on. This is the form of Mahaprabhu that is generally appearing in this world. But every so often, more rarely, there is this very special form that is not an avatar Vishnu, but is directly Krishna himself. And he comes with this inner desire to explore the heart of Radharani. And so this verse is like describing how there was a merging of these two aspects, that Yuga avatar aspect, avatar Vishnu, like by the arrangement, Vidhi is referring to providence, like the higher will or whoever arranges all the happenings. It so happened, like while Krishna was contemplating, I want to experience the mood of Radharani, I'm going to appear in this way. As Krishna was contemplating this, coincidentally, or by the arrangement of providence, it was also time for the Yuga avatar to descend and for this spreading of the Yuga Dharma. So that duty came And it came at the same time as Krishna was contemplating appearing as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there was like a merging of these two deities, you could say, or merging of these two purposes. And that Pati Pavan aspect, that savior of the fallen aspect, the Yuga avatar aspect. And so then they Milaila, they merged. And Nadia Prakashe, he appeared in Nadia. Nadia district is the region where Mahaprabhu appeared in West Bengal. So then these two purposes came together to save the souls and also explore that inner mood. And Mahaprabhu appeared in Nadia district. Then Erupa Aroti Brahma Shambhu Agochar Gaur Bhakta Kripa Patra Matra Siddhisar. This is saying that this type of arti, like this vision, is very, very high. Not everybody has access to this. And so it's saying even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, it is beyond their purview. This type of worship is beyond their vision even. It is so high. And only Gaura Bhakta, Kripa Patra Matra, only Matra, only if you Kripa Patra, if you receive the mercy of a Gaura Bhakta, of a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Siddhisar, can you attain this type of perfection, to have this type of vision. Then the next verse is listing some of these principal associates, devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, who we were talking about, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Adi, and so on. Kripai, by their mercy, Deke, one can see, one can have the vision of this type of arati. Jaya Guru Gaurādha Govinda Sundar Jaya Dao Bhakta Vinda Nitya Nina Jaya. This is a very beautiful line too. It's very rousing because it's kind of like instructing, like telling all the devotees, like Jai Dao. It's like very simple Bengali. It just means give Jai. Like all devotees, Bhakta Rinda, all devotees give Jai to, Bhu, Gaur, Radha, Govinda, Bhakta Rinda, all the devotees, Jai Dao, Nitya Nirantar means eternally, without ends, continually give Jai. In Bengal, if you get to spend time in Bengal, then you get more of a feeling for some of these things too. But this Jai Dao, they have one chant. They'll sing sometimes. They just say, "Oh, now it's a little embarrassing." But sometimes if they're like singing and glorifying someone, they'll just say Jai Dao. Like they Jai Dao, Jai Dao, Jai Dao, Jai Dao. Like give Jai, everyone give Jai. So then it's concluding here that, oh, devotees, like without cessation, eternally, give your Jai to this beautiful form, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Govinda combined, and to Shri Guru, of course, also. So very, very wonderful song. I'm getting it out. There's an affirmation, huh? Oh, I'm very happy we could discuss this wonderful song. I think Gurudev would be happy. This is our unique wealth, This is why we're here, because there are so many temples and so many missions and so many gurus, but we're specifically attracted to the unique wealth that we find here, coming from Srila Bhakti, Srila Swami Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda. So, very happy to discuss these things.
So, Shakti, was there a connection then between Ramananda Roy and then why Sridhar Maharaj's name is named Ramananda Austin? Was there?
Well,
I was just wondering that. Was that a silly question?
No, it's not a silly. It's not a silly question. No. Our Gurudev once said that Srila Sridhar Maharaj was non-different from Ramananda Rai.
Okay.
There was some appearance of the heart or mood of Ramananda Rai in Srila Sridhar Maharaj. That is how I see it. He had a very special affinity for Ramananda Rai. Because actually once on the appearance day of Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Russia, our Gurudev spent the first 30 minutes talking about Ramananda Rai. It was on Srila Sridhar Maharaj's appearance day. And then afterwards he said, you may be wondering, why I'm talking about Ramananda Rai in the appearance day of my Guru Maharaj. And then he said, but our Guru Maharaj, he is a non-different form of Ramananda Rai. That was his expression. And he talked about how Saraswati Thakur gave that name to him that time, Ramananda Das. And then, another thing is that we have and now we're coming to that in our morning reading, but in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's that chapter referred to often as the Ramananda Samvad. And it's describing this extraordinary conversation that took place between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu's, and it's significant because Mahaprabhu is actually putting himself in the position of the students, which doesn't happen very often. Generally, Mahaprabhu is giving instruction. But in this conversation, Mahaprabhu puts himself in the position of the inquirer, and he's asking Ramananda questions. And the whole conversation is very precise and systematic in its development, beginning from the beginning levels of theistic thought and gradually coming to higher and more developed levels of theism. So that conversation is very, very important for us, and it was very dear to Srila Sridhar Maharaj also. And he liked to hear that. There was one statement of Srila Sridhar Maharaj where he said, my whole heart is there, in that divine conversation. So
probably you mentioned that the Saraswati Thakur sent Guru Maharaj to find that Ramananda Samvad.
That's right, yes. Earlier we mentioned that, yeah. And then he changed his name at that time. Right. So yes. And in that last period of Mahaprabhu's pastimes, we were talking about this. I'm getting mixed up because we just had our Zoom meeting. We were also talking about some of these things. But yeah, so Ramananda Rai, in the last phase of Mahaprabhu's Leela in this world, then Ramananda Rai and Srup Damodar, they were like the most intimate companions of Mahaprabhu. And they're both, in their position in Vrindavan, they're both, close girlfriends of Radharani, they're Lalita and Vishaka. And so who more, when Mahaprabhu is experiencing these moods of Radharani, and who can understand better than these two, right? And so they had this, very important place in that last phase of Mahaprabhu's passing. So Ramananda Rai is very important for us. And Gurudev also said that after Mahaprabhu left this world, Ramananda Rai became like a pillar for the whole community of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Because actually Srup Damodar, because he was so intimately close with Mahaprabhu, he couldn't bear to live without him. And so when Mahaprabhu left, Srup Damodar left almost immediately, like within a day or two. He left also, Srup Damodar. And so it was left to Ramananda Rai to kind of take care of everyone and keep some mission together. Right? There was a whole aftermath of Mahaprabhu's Leela in this world. But yeah, I'm sure there's much more to say on that particular point. I can only repeat what I've heard, but we know there's this very special connection between Ramananda Rai and Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Okay, maybe we'll stop there. We don't go too late. Well, I'm so happy in all of your good company. Such topics came by the grace of our gurus and you all. It's our good fortune we're privileged to contemplate such things. Jai Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shila Bhakti Raksha Chidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana.
Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Adadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha.
Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Jaha Hoite Vignana Shabisha Purana.
Jaha Hoite Vignana Sabishta Purana.
Jai Gosai Jai Muita Dadasa.
Jai Gosai Jara Mulita Radasa.
Dansa Bada Padarenu Moda Panchagrasa.
Dansabara Padarenu Mora Panchagrasa.
Sadara Charana Sebi Bhakta Sane Bhasa.
Sadara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sane Bhasa.
Janame Janame Moe Abhilasha.
Janame Janame Mora Abhilasha.
Janame Janame Moe Abhilasha.
Janame Janame Mora Abhilasha.
Echai Gosai Jabe Braja Koilabasa.
Jai Gosai Jagaraja Kulabasa.
Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Kodila Prakasha.
Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Kodila Prakasha.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana.
Ananda Bolo Hari Braja Vrindavana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majaya Mana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Majaya Mana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Padihasha.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Padihasha.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Padihasha.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Padihasha.
Harinam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Dasa.
Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Dasa.
Harinam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Dasa.
Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Dasa.
Harinam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Dasa.
Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Dasa.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Guru Hari Bol Hari Bol Gouda Hari Bol
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Jai Guru Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gouda Hari Bol
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Jai Shri Guru Dev ki Jai
Jai.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai
Jai.
Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki Jai Jai Gaur Premanande